Welcome, Player 1. Please insert coin to play.
Welcome, watchers of illusion, to my castle of confusion. It's a Monday, and it's the 10th of November. I can't actually fathom how quickly this year's disappearing already. So anyway, thought we'd crack it back to classic gaming yet again. Not done really a classic game for a while. So Pac-Mania on the Commodore 64, one I've not seen yet. So this is the first play for me on the C64. Obviously, I have played this game before on both the arcade and the ZX Spectrum, both of which are fantastic games. So I thought I'd have a look at this one and see how it compares to the arcade. This was done by Grand Slam, and I do believe they were responsible for most of the home computer ports at the time. And Pac-Mania, one of my all-time favourite Pac-Man games. Just, I don't know why, it's just great. Everything just comes together with one glorious game experience. And this is actually not a bad conversion at all. So we'll look at everything going forward anyway. But I really like this. Now, I've been an avid fan of the Spectrum version of this for a long time, because I had this on my ZX Spectrum 128K, and I was blown away by the fact that not only did it have colour, for the ZX Spectrum was a bit of a novelty at the time, but everything sort of went into place as well. You had all the correct music, you had all the correct levels, nothing was skimped on. The Spectrum version was in fact very, very good. This is the C64 version, and it's turning out to be very good as well, which is great. I've not come across a bad version of Pac-Mania yet, but you know, there's still time. It was released on quite a lot of systems, so well, let's get stuck in, I suppose. Let's have a look at graphics first of all. Well, it's pretty much arcade. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's arcade. It's as arcade perfect as you're going to get on the 8-bits, I think. It's I don't know whether I could say that the sprite is better than the Spectrum version. That could be controversial if I said it was. But there you go. Everything's in place. I love the fact that everything from the arcade has been included. Now, you've got to remember that these games on the 8-bit systems had so little RAM to cram in these sort of levels and everything into. But it's kind of a marvel that any of these actually got converted the way they have. So you've got everything included in this. You've got, we'll look at the UI in a second. But just the whole thing, you've got the music, the levels, the sprites, the ghosts, Pac-Man himself, all the animations, all crammed in. Remember, this is a Commodore 64, not a 128. And even then, you think about it, 128K. Not 128 meg, not 128 gigabytes, which is kind of what we're talking about in games these days. You know, these big games like World of Warcraft, for example, is huge. They squeezed this into a 64 kilobyte of RAM. Amazing, really, isn't it? You just wouldn't get this anymore. I mean, yes, people are still doing games for the C64. People are still doing games for the ZX Spectrum. But I'm talking big games that you just wouldn't get these days. But I love it. This is why I have this channel. Because great graphics, great music, and do not make a good game. A good game is simplicity. A game that is so simple that you could pick it up and play it to your heart's content. No stupidly hard manuals to read. No gameplay to really learn as such. No complex control methods. Just simple arcade gaming on your home computer. Yes, it took 6 years to load, but that's not the point. The point is it was fun and playable and all of that jazz. Now, you've got to remember that things like saving your game progress and things didn't really exist back in the day, because there was not really any way you could do it. But the Spectrum and the C64 and the Amstrad did have data cassettes. You could, if the game allowed, you could pop in a blank cassette and save your game. I don't think many games utilise that, but it was also a good way of storing handwritten pokes as well. Pokes? Yeah. Otherwise known as cheating your arse off. But, yeah. Pokes were kind of where you'd, sort of, let's put this in quotations, hack into the games and give yourselves infinite lives, infinite health, that kind of thing. And it was touch and go whether they'd actually work. But, yeah, I remember the days with, I used to subscribe to Your Sinclair, at least my mum and dad subscribed to it for me. And, you know, there'd be a page dedicated to pokes, and you could put them in little basic programs and stuff like that, which was great fun. These days it's all on the internet. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to research it, you just go online, look for what you want, and it's there. Well, you had to wait for magazines to be printed, and there's no guarantee that that was going to be in your magazine. Anyway, back to the game. Graphically, I like this. It's good fun. I'm not a massive fan of the grey border at the bottom, but I suppose, you know, we're picking there, so that's not going to detract from its final score. So you've got everything there. You've got your copyright there. You've got Namco, which obviously was the original release agent, and then you've got your score in the bottom right-hand corner there, and also in the top left you've got your lives, and then underneath that you've got how many credits. In the middle you've got what item is spawning in the middle of the screen. Now those items can be just score boosters, or they give you power-ups like this really speedy thing that I've just wasted by jumping into a red ghost. But there you go. Some things help and some things hinder. Yes, let's crack on. The animation's very nice, of Pac-Man himself, of course. And those of you who didn't know that you can jump in Pac-Mania, so you can jump over the ghosts. But just so you're aware that later levels the ghosts jump as well. And well, yeah, there was a method on the Spectrum version where you had to sort of jump away from them and then back into them, if that makes sense, and you could sort of clear them that way. But each system had a different way of dealing with it, so we'll see how the C64 version compares. Oh yes, we will. So so far so good. The levels are all intact, and they are arcade perfect, which is great. I was like that. The music, which I adore the theme tune of especially this level and the original first level, realistically. The only level music I didn't like was Jungly Steps, which I'm hoping to bring to you before this review is over. Let's see how well we get on. But the original that one, that's my favourite. That's my favourite one. Which you're about to hear now. Here it is. Yeah, I don't know. This is the tune that's stuck with me. Even level 2, which is a completely different level, but even that music is kind of iconic, but not as iconic as this. It's like having Outrun music, the classic Outrun music, of course. But yeah, the music is great. You don't really get any sounds. You get the Pac-Man when you get hit. There is a kind of rendition of his death theme, if you like. It's a shame because the kind of noise that he makes, it's not there, but again, that's nitpicking. But I think we can forgive that because the game itself is very good and it's instantly playable, and that's what we like about games. I could see earlier on you could put your high score in. Now it doesn't save it, unfortunately, but it will tell you what your last score was. If you look at the scores on the bottom, the last high score was mine at 194070. So we're now on 17200. Every time you pick up pills, you'll obviously get score increases and stuff like that. And when you kill flashy ghosts, up to a score of 6550, I do believe, per ghost. It might be more than that. I will have to check next time I get on a kill streak. But anyway, everything intact from the arcade. Nothing has been scrimped on, which is great. Controls are very simple. It's up, down, left and right, and jump, which is done by pressing the fire button at any given time. My argument with this is that sometimes the controls can be a little bit off center, as in sometimes you'll turn and it won't. There's just it's a nitpicky thing, but it is quite important thing that sometimes the controls don't react when you want them to, which can result in you going up the wrong way, trying to avoid a ghost or something like that, and you end up going backwards into it. So hopefully there might be some examples of this as I'm playing. I don't know. I can't predict these things, but let's see anyway. But that's the only annoyance that I've got really, the controls, is that sometimes they're not as responsive as they could have been. I don't remember this happening on the Speccy version. Of course, I'm not trying to say the Spectrum version outshines the C64. I think they're pretty much on par, to be quite honest with you. I like it for different reasons, of course. The Spectrum had less colours and all that stuff, but it was fairly pin sharp with the images, which I really liked. Oh yes, I really liked the pin sharp images of the ZX Spectrum, you see. But there you go. Jungly Steps. Here we are, ladies and gents. Jungly Steps. I don't like the music on this one. It just doesn't feel very Pac-Mania-ish. I don't know. It's just... It just hasn't got the same sort of pizzazz as the rest of the game, which is a great shame. But there we are. Anyway, all in all, it's a great game. Now, I would say that playability here is absolutely on the money. If you enjoyed Pac-Mania on the arcade game, you're going to enjoy it on the C64. This is probably the closest you're going to get to an arcade-perfect Pac-Mania game. So, there you are. It was very good on the Amiga as well, by the way. I think we've done the Amiga, and I think we've done arcade and Spectrum we've done. But this is a game that will get repeat playings on different formats, because it is good fun. It's a bit like New Zealand Story on different media as well. It's the classics that matter here, folks. It's the classics. Replay value, absolutely. This is a great game if you want to have your friends round and have like an arcade evening. Get your mates round, take it in a turn-based scenario, and see if you can outmatch each other's scores. Nice and simple, and well, it's a very good way of scoring, making a single-player game into a multiplayer game. So, have fun and let me know what your scores are. Yes, if you can get a decent score, let me know. See, that jump away and back in doesn't work on the C64 version. They're actually really quite hard to avoid, these jumpy buggers. There you go. Oh, yeah, there you go. There is a classic example of when the controls decide to do something completely different. Never mind. Age rating, guys, is any, because it's a great game. It's Pac-Man. It's going to appeal to older players and younger players alike. So, everybody gets a chance with Pac-Mania. Anyway, that's about it from me today, folks. I hope you've had a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to bringing you some more stuff this week. I will be back very soon with something else for you to look at. In the meantime, you keep it retro, guys, and as usual, it's bye for now. Bye-bye.